Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the April edition of our Catch Up with Keeper webinar series. Thank you all so much for joining me today. As is custom, would love if folks could drop into the chat and let us know where you're calling in from while we give people a couple of minutes to join as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and dive on in. Thank you all so much for joining us once again today. I hope everyone had a peaceful end to tax season. I hope everyone is breathing and enjoying their post-tax season life. Actually, I guess this only applies to my fellow Americans, to my Canadian customers who are here on this call. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a good last couple of days of tax season here coming up. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and dive on in. We have a super exciting series of updates to share today, so I'm probably going to need the full time or close to it. All right. So before I get started, if you are new here, welcome to please ask any questions in the Q&A at the bottom rather than in the chat so that we make sure that we can tackle them. All right, so I'm going to walk through all of the latest and greatest features we've shipped over the last month. We're going to start with Keeper emails. Have a ton of exciting new updates here. First one I'm going to talk about is schedule send. So if you have an email that you want to send later instead of now, you can now do that directly inside of Keeper emails. You've been able to do this inside of the close page for a while, so this is just now available in the primary emailing inbox. So if you have an email, you just want to send that later, you can click schedule. And then if you decide later that you actually don't want to send this, then go to your scheduled section here and then cancel the send. Here you can edit this, or you can also just delete the draft entirely. Worth noting, scheduled here is both, there are two inboxes here. So these are scheduled emails from your personal email, and these are scheduled emails in your practice inbox, or I guess in this case, practice outbox. All right. Next thing to note here is a little bit of quality of life in your email composing experience. So right now, as you can see, this is going to populate any contacts that we have in the client portal. But we will also now remember any emails that are contacts in your Gmail or Outlooks. These are basically people that you email frequently enough that Gmail or Outlook kind of add them as contacts, or you explicitly add them as contacts. And so those are contacts in the email sense, but not contacts in the Keeper sense. And so here, if I type for Steve, I can see that this will return Steve's full-length email, despite the fact that if I look for Steve in our all contacts, I will see that he is not there. So hopefully that should make it easier to continue to use Keeper emails as your normal email inbox rather than just emails to and from clients. But speaking of emails to and from clients, we added a new filter. And that filter lets you filter your inbox for just emails that are from clients, if my email will want to load today. So you click this filter here, you just click filter for emails from clients, and then that will filter out anything that is not from a contact in the portal. And then you can just focus on those. And then once you've responded and addressed all of those concerns, then you can unfilter and filter for just go back to the regular inbox. So that's a super great way. This is actually something we do internally here as well, is we have everyone set up filters so that everyone on our team goes and looks at our customers' emails first and responds to those, and then only then goes and looks at other people's emails to make sure that we are prioritizing response time for our customers that we love so much. So yeah, I hope y'all like that new feature. And speaking of contacts, a few more things here. So first is if you have an email from a contact, if you now hover over that contact, you can see all of the clients they are associated with, and even click a link, and that will take you to that client's close page. You can also edit the contact directly from here. So if you want to add or remove related clients, edit their phone number, change their access permissions, anything like that, you can do that all directly from here. Similarly, if someone is not a contact, you can add them as a contact and choose which clients you're going to relate them to. All right. And then one more update on Keeper emails is this shared folder. One quick thing to note, unlike scheduled, which exists in both emails, shared only exists in your personal email, which just means that it is like it will actually roll up both anything that you've been tagged in your personal email or anything you've been tagged in the firm inbox. So here, for example, we can see I've been tagged in this comment. That's going to put it in. So basically, any comments that have been left on any emails in any inbox that I've been tagged in will pull into my shared inbox list here, sorted by latest email. So you can kind of keep things organized here. If someone tagged you in something and you remember that you got tagged, but you don't remember what you got tagged in, you can use this as a good starting point to go and filter for that comment. All right. Next, actually, before I do that, I'm going to pause and see if anyone has any questions in the Q&A and on emails, and then I will move on to workflow. All right. Looks like no questions on Keeper email, so that's great. Now we'll move on to workflow. First thing I want to talk about is on the client list, and that is our new close performance column. So you can add this really quickly, go back to what I just did there. You can add this the way you normally manage your columns, which is this edit columns button here. And then you can search for performance, or you'll also see it's right here under close performance. And if you add that, you'll get the trailing history of the closes and whether or not they were completed on time. So a good companion column to this is the close due date. So here you can see any closes that were completed, whether or not they were completed on time. And then here, for example, we can see Jensen Technology Inc., which people who have been on calls with me may or may not know, this is our actual close. So this is the books that I do for our business. You can see I am not the best at delivering that timely. So a little bit of a cobbler's kid situation. But this is a great way to see basically which clients you are delivering closes on time for, which clients you maybe need to improve on for, or change and reset expectations for. And today, if you wanted to do further analytics on this, we recommend downloading this as a CSV, and then you can do things like build pivot tables on top of your performance column, but more insightful reporting that builds on top of this performance column and other workflow data should be coming soon. So excited to talk about that when it's ready as well. Okay, next super exciting update. I think a lot of folks will be really eager to use this feature is our, and it's one of our most, it's one of our longest awaited features, and that is preparer reviewer sign-offs. So now you can add a sign-off to any task, and then multiple users have to sign that task off before that task can be marked as completed. So you can see here, this task cannot be completed because there are still 2 sign-offs outstanding. Commonly, the way that we will see this get set up, let's say here on an account reconciliation task, is you'll have the first sign-off be completed by the preparer, the person to whom the task is assigned, and then you'll have the manager be the sort of second person who signs things off. This is built up with the recognition that sometimes a preparer might be out, a reviewer might be working on a file, and they just need to get stuff done. And so in that case, this is based on your user permissions. The manager or admin user can actually sign off the user's task, or sorry, the standard user's task here. So here we can see I actually signed this off, and you can see that it was an override. So it's assigned to Steve Standard. And then once that's done, I can sign my own task off here as well. And then at that point, the account rec is going to be marked as completed. Saw a question come in that I was about to get to, which is what do notifications look like? When the preparer signs off on that task, the manager does get an email. So I will pull that up here now. So here we see that I just completed this sign-off task here. And so we get a sign-offs required email that goes to the person to whom the sign-off is, or from whom the sign-off is requested. And then when all the sign-offs are complete, you get another email about that as well. Renee asked, how do the tasks with the multiple signers show in the task view? Great question. I'm gonna actually undo this sign off so I can show that. And then we'll go to the tasks. One second here, folks. Okay, so here we can see that June 2022 task. And then you'll see there are also a couple of other new columns that you can add here, sign-offs and next sign-off. If you have that on here, you'll see we've got these two tasks here. There's one of two sign-off tasks complete, and then the next sign-off is assigned to Ben Stein. Of course, we can click this and see the full details of the sign-off and also sign it off from here too. A few people have asked about configuring emails, both to turn off emails or to consolidate emails in consolidate email notifications into a single email per day. There is not currently a way to turn those off. Definitely something that we're aware of. So we are working on more configuration of those so you don't get your email inbox blown up. Okay, next question is from Kate, is will these be available on non-transaction tasks? I think by this she means custom tasks. And the answer is yes, that is, should be live, I think either this Thursday or the following Thursday. So yeah, we wanted to make sure that we got this out in people's hands ASAP for account reconciliation and review tasks. But yeah, it should go live for custom tasks in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And worth noting, this is also live in templates today. So if you wanted to have a particular task, basic bookkeeping, like if you wanted to have, for example, all of your account reconciliation tasks have a initial sign off that goes to the close preparer and close reviewer, you can set that up as a template as well. Okay, ton of questions about emails, so definitely something that we are working on configuring. Okay. Renee, I'm not sure I'm following your question here about does the task show as due for the second signer before the first signer completes or after? Maybe to add more context here, this next sign off shows to whom the task is who is next in line to sign this off. So if this is undone, so Steve is the next signatory, we can see here that the next sign off becomes Steve. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. Okay, that's it for workflow. So I will now move on to some of our file review updates. Super excited to talk about those. All right, so let's get things started with files. So if you open up any new table, whether this is in your transaction search up at the top here, whether this is in a file review report or reconciliation report, we've now pulled the attachments out over here to the right. So rather than previously, you needed to click over here, click attachments, and then open up your attachments. You can now just see those right here from the table. Makes it much easier to just get access to the files where they are applicable. And so if you click this here, it does show, sorry, we do have this one bug here where it's showing up, it's popping up above for that very top transaction. So that should get fixed. let me take care of this here as well. All right, there we go. So here we've got all of the transactions. And then one of the other really cool things here as well is you can now see the note that the transaction was uploaded with. So if you use Keep Receipts and your clients upload an email or forward in an attachment with an email, like let's say this receipt here, for example, you can also see that note in context. So you can see any of the relevant email information in case that does become relevant. A really pertinent example that I personally use when I manage our own bill pay is in the aging reports. So in the accounts payable aging, let's say you have a bill you need to pay and you want to see the attachment on that bill. So you have the invoice and you're supposed to pay it, but you don't know how, especially if this is an email that comes from QuickBooks that your clients then forward in. So you'll get the email context here, makes it super easy to see. And then we have that review and pay button right here. So we can open that up and pay the bill directly. So just a much more seamless process rather than needing to go digging back through emails or other places. It's all right here connected directly to the file that is on that transaction. Okay. Next update here on the P&L is on the P&L. Actually, two quick updates on the P&L. First is you can now download the P&L as an Excel export in addition to a CSV export. So for some of you who are building data on top of that and metrics won't quite work for you, hopefully you'll find Excel a little bit more accessible. And then next, I know this is another thing that folks have been waiting a long, long time for, so excited to finally get it out the door. As you can now see transactions coded to parent accounts directly within the P&L. So here, for example, we can see there's $2.75 on the advertising and marketing parent account. And if we want to see what that is, we just click this dollar sign icon here, and that will pull up that $2.75 transaction. All right. And last but not least, on the file reviews, we have now added full support for multi-currency. So that applies pretty much everywhere in the app, starting in reconciliation. So you can have non-US dollar balances, or if you're a Canadian customer or a UK customer, you can have non-CAD or pound denominated balances here as well, and then reconcile against the non-US dollar balance here too. You can also see the US dollar equivalent balance. We call these, by the way, the reporting amount is what the sort of home currency equivalent is. And this also flows into the transactions as well. So if you have a Canadian dollar transaction, you'll see the Canadian dollar amount as well as the US dollar equivalent. This will go for every currency, so not just Canadian dollars. And then you can click here as well to see how that currency exchange rate is stored here too. All right, well, looks like there are a couple of Q&A questions to tackle in this. Aita asked, one of my clients wanted to see the detail behind account balances in the report. For example, all of the transactions that make up the subscriptions account. Is that something that can be added to the reports? Sort of. You can use the P&L detail report that can be added to your reporting. So that would show all details in all accounts on the P&L down to the transaction level. May or may not be what you're looking for, but otherwise, I would love to see that in the candy. Okay. And then one more feature related to Keeper Receipts that I am super excited about personally, has helped me a lot since we've shipped it, is our new Vendor Docs tab. So here, if you receive an invoice from a vendor that you already have files for, you can click this Vendor Docs button, and here you can see any files that you have uploaded that are related to that vendor. So here we can see, obviously this is a sample file, but you can see the contract. If there's relevant contract information you might want to look into before you pay this invoice. If you need payment details, you can see those if they're attached here as well. This will show files if they're in Keeper or in QuickBooks. So basically anything, as long as it's related to that vendor, will show up here. And if, for example, you got an invoice and you're missing a W-9, you want to get that W-9 before you pay the invoice, you can create a vendor request right here, send it directly to the vendor, all without leaving the keep a receipt screen. Okay. And then one more feature that I know was a super exciting update for a segment of our customer base is the client portal login screen configuration. So now on your client portal login, you can now choose whether you want to default to a sign in with magic link, or if you want to default to a sign in with email and password, which can be a little bit more password manager friendly if your clients are logging in and have set up credentials that they store in, for example, a 1Password account. So just to show what those look like here, this is the normal login screen. And you can see I do actually have this saved in a 1Password account. If I switch this over to sign in with email and password, there is now just an email and password option here as well. That works super well with a password manager. All right. And then one more quick update, and then I will turn it back over to the Q&A, is in our practice settings. We are shipping lots of new features all the time. They don't go live for everyone until we feel like they are in a good spot and are not going to break things, and you can kind of just use them and they just work. But we do have other features that we ship in various states of completeness. And so for that reason, we have this new beta features opt-in. If you select this, this will give you access to all of our earlier, more experimental features that may still have some sharp corners around the edges. So if you want to experience the latest and greatest in Keeper with the least possible delay, you can check this box. That will give you access to our beta features. If not, you can leave that unchecked, and your app will continue to update as normal. Okay, Aita asked, how would the password option be rolled out to current clients if we turn it on? Will they be asked to create a password in their next login with a magic link? Essentially, if you want to set up a password, here I will go back to the setup. So if your client wants to set up a password, essentially they will just use the forgot password link as the initial way to set the password in the first place. And then that will send them a link they can use to set their password that they can then use to log in. Jamie asked, in transaction review, is there an ETA for journal entries without attachments? There is one. I don't have it handy, but I will follow up with you when I get that. Laurel asked, is it possible to assign a task to multiple people? So we have multiple supervisors, and that way whoever gets it first can work on it and show up. It shows up on both people's task lists. Not currently a good solution for that workflow. Definitely makes a ton of sense. But yeah, if you want to add that to the canny, we will review it and see what we can do. Lacey asked, so does that mean if I check email password as the default, the client can still choose to sign in with a magic link, or will it force a password? That is correct. The clients can still choose to sign in with a magic link. So here, this is the default username and password, and then they can still click sign in with a magic link. An anonymous attendee asked, is there a way to organize incoming emails into separate folders, categorized by client, so that all emails from or related to each client go into their respective folders? There's not a way to do this today on in Keeper emails. If you are using Keeper receipts, then any emails that get sent to the Keeper receipts email, the forwarding email, will automatically get put here in the client uploads inbox, which may or may not be what you want. But if you're just looking for sort of organization of conventional emails, would definitely recommend taking advantage of that contacts filter that will let you just filter everything down to just your contacts. And then we are working on subsequent improvements to help those get just called out for specific clients as well. Autumn asks, is there a way to have a workflow, let's say payroll, that is not directly connected to the monthly closes? Yes, there is. Finally, a softball question I have a good answer to. Okay, so what we recommend doing is setting these up in your custom tasks. So in particular, I like setting up a custom section in my custom tasks called payroll. And then whereas your closing tasks are tied to the close that you're working on and automatically roll forward as soon as you start a new close for each client, a custom task it can either be one-off or can have a custom frequency associated with it. So like every 2 weeks on a Monday, for example. So you can put that here in your payroll section, and then that will show up here. So you can see that just sort of broken out. And then you can also, on your client list, just see all of your payroll specific tasks here too. Okay, I don't have the branding tab, but I have had my client comment on the login process. Is there a way to change the settings without going through the branding tab? There is not. So Christina, I don't know, if you want to send that email to or right into our support, we can maybe take a closer look at your practice. Okay, Jamie, with a few questions on ETAs. So I don't have those handy, but we'll follow up after. Make a note of those here. Okay. All right. A couple of questions to re-review the sign-offs. So in particular, how to set up sign-offs across an entire section rather than at a task level. My best recommendation right now would be to do this in your templates. So for example, if you wanted to apply if you wanted to set up prepare reviewer sign-offs on all reconciliation tasks, you could do that here and then apply this template. However, worth noting, template application, if you're not prepared for it, can modify the existing task. So for example, if you had a task called make sure all transactions in the bank feed are coded, it would update that task to match this checklist. So definitely something you want to be careful with if you're applying those templates. But yeah, that would be my recommendation. Otherwise, I would recommend just individually setting the sign-offs. Okay, a request to re-review close date and performance items. Yes, so really quickly, I will show that here. Okay, so and then I'll add due date. Okay, so at a high level, if a close was completed on time, so basically if the here I will mark this one as complete so we can kind of see here. This does take typically up to a minute to upload to update, so I'll leave that as done here, and you can see this will be completed after the fact. But so basically, depending on when the close was due and the date when it was completed, that's whether that will show if a close shows up in a red triangle, that means it was late. A green dot, that means it was on time or early. And then a gray dot means that it was not completed on time. Or sorry, it was not completed at all. So here we can see the March 2025 close was completed on April 21st instead of the 8th when it was due. February 25 was completed on March 23rd. Jan 25 was completed on Feb 27th. December 24 was completed on Feb 17th. So you can hover over to get more details, but basically a bunch of red triangles is bad, a bunch of green dots is good. This being sandbox demo data, I don't have any examples of good. So we'll have to work on some better visuals for that. Linda asked, what is the ETA for non-Gmail email users? Worth calling out right now, Keeper Emails is fully supported on both Gmail and Outlook. So I don't have an update on ETAs for non-Gmail and non-Outlook users, but hopefully that should cover the majority of y'all today. Laurel asked if we have sign-offs on a task, will it show up in both people's task list? It will basically only show up in someone's task list when it is their turn. So obviously that depends on what you filter, but if you have, if you're in your tasks, for example, and you have sign-offs enabled, and you filter for things that you are responsible for signing off, this is only going to show up when it is when the ball is in your court. Debbie asked, in the template section, I'm creating a client task template. I want to move these sections around in a different order, but it won't let me do that. Okay, so if you want to manage your sections, you actually have to do that from your practice settings. So you go to your practice settings and then section manager right here. And this is where you can reorder your sections. It's worth noting all of these sections are in the same order in templates as well as in all clients. So if you dragged payroll above general, that's going to put it above general for every client that you view. You can also show and hide sections in clients in particular, but this is where you can reorder the sections here, not inside of a specific template. Danny asked, will there be an option for our internal users to remove custom sections from certain clients if they don't use the same as other staff? This is something that is live today. So if you have a custom task section, like let's say general, and for whatever reason you don't want to use it on DemoCo, you can just click hide section and that will drop it down here. It will warn you if there are tasks that you have open. For example, it'll say, hey, what do you want to do with them? So I'm not going to do that here. So I do have some tasks to do later. But you can also see all of your hidden sections down below at any time. So they're still there, they're just hidden. And that works for both your custom tasks and your general tasks. This is something only admin users can do, so standard users can't do that. Sarah asked, how do you set the due date for the monthly close process? Due dates is actually a setting that you can disable. If you don't have it disabled, then your close status will show up, or your close due date. You can click either here to set the due date, or here to set the due date, or back on the client list. You can also add the column here, close due date, and then set that from here. If you don't have that enabled, I believe that is here. Maybe we can't disable that. If you don't have that enabled, write in a support and I will find out. But I don't think you can have that disabled. Maybe I'm wrong about having it disabled. Okay. Dean asked, is there a way to write a note / make a call out on a PDF that is attached within Keeper, for example, to show which number from an investment statement used for to show which numbers from an investment statement used for the corresponding journal entries and any calcs related to the journal entry. Okay. I'm not sure I'm processing fully the question here as well, but I will answer it my best. If you have there's no way to make a comment, like basically annotate a PDF today. That is definitely something that we are looking into, especially as we've started supporting tax firms. But what we recommend today is if, for example, you have that note here, you have a statement on the account rec task or on a file, to just go ahead and leave a supporting comment on that as well. And that's where you can put all the related information. And then basically they're both linked to the task, where both would be linked to the transaction. Samantha mentioned on Keeper emails. Our Keeper emails gets quarantined every time. And Proofpoint, Keeper and Microsoft have all said it's someone else's problem. Can someone please call me to figure it out? Write in support, and I will have that and ask them to escalate it, and I will take a look. So if you already have an open ticket, just rewrite back into the chat, and I will make sure I take a look with our support team. Jamie asked, in the final review, do P&Ls have the ability to run on a calendar year-to-date basis? Looks like they do not, but that would be pretty easy to add. So I will make a note and talk about it with our product team. Okay, that appears to be all of the questions today. So I will give folks maybe another 30, 40 seconds here to see if you have any more questions that come to mind, and then we will go ahead and draw this webinar to a close. Alvin asked, how can we see which users can see the private close view? To see which users have access to which clients, you go to your user management, and then here we can see which clients a user has access to. Danny asked, is there a balance sheet comparison option that compares to 12/31 of the prior year? There may be an option to do this in reporting. I'm not 100% sure. Let's take a look. If it would be compare to the prior period. We do. End of prior fiscal year. So if your fiscal year is a calendar year, then this will work. Otherwise, it will compare to the end of the whatever your prior fiscal year is. Okay. An anonymous attendee, so sort of like Sally sells seashells kind of situation, asked where we would recommend they go for training. I'm going to point out a few resources. First is the Help Center here. This is great if you have like specific features you're looking to deep dive on, and you want to sort of read more about the sort of technical implementation. Also would recommend our Help Center. Just ask a question if you have one, and we would be more than happy to answer it. And then last but not least here, our YouTube, which you can also find here from here, is a great, I blocked YouTube because I'm something of a degenerate with YouTube after work. Anyways, our YouTube channel is also a great resource for learning how Keeper works. It's super visual for learners who prefer that style. And then we also have this playlist here called Getting Started with Keeper, by the one and only inimitable Sage from our team here. So there's 15 videos, and we continue to add to it that walks through every piece of Keeper, how they work, how you can put them together, set them up. So would recommend that as well. I'm sure the CS team is putting that in the chat as we speak. Yes, thank you, Lauren. An anonymous attendee asked, is there a way to zoom into an attachment in Keeper receipts without opening it as a pop-up? I'm not sure I follow. I assume you mean without clicking it open like this. The answer is no, not currently. Hi, Kirsty with the eagle-eyed view here, noticing that there is a new tab and asking if it was covered earlier in the recording. It was not, although I suppose this is a sneak preview, so stick around for subsequent recordings where we are super excited to talk about new coming bank feeds functionality in the next 1 to 2 months. All right, Sarah asked, how do I set up a private view for my individual staff without having to log into their Keeper profile? I am not sure I follow this question. So if you want to write into our support chat with more details, we will take a look and give you a best answer. Okay. All right. I think, nope, sorry. Jamie asked, chimed in to maybe help with the last question, but I'm not sure. Sharing property views. Jamie asked if she means sharing property views. The answer is maybe. Sandy asked, there are more report templates. I'm not sure what this question represents.
My bet is that it's saved views on either the client list or the task list, which you can obviously save views for
okay, got it. Okay.
private for staff. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
got it. There's no way to create a view that is private for another person. So for example, if you wanted to say, show me all tasks where Ben is the preparer and then save that as a view, you can save that as a new view, but you would have to make it public so that they could see it. So there's no way to just like create a private view and then share it with someone individually. So thank you, Shayna. And thank you, Jamie, as well. Greg says, I'm seeing that Google is available as a login option for my clients. What if their Google login email does not match their keeper email address? Then it won't let them log in to that account. It will just fail. Danny mentioned, are we able to use sign-offs for non-closing tasks? I did answer this earlier, but we'll just reiterate that will be live, I think either this Thursday or the coming Thursday. So not just yet, but coming very, very soon. Renee said the receipts zoom in creates a pop-up and then you can't enter anything while viewing. Is there a way to zoom without the pop-up? I guess, yeah, Renee, if you want to just follow up over either email or chat here, we'll take a look. And anonymous attendee asks, is there a way to filter the views by ones created by me? It's hard to identify which ones are public versus private unless I delete one. There is not currently a way to see which views are created by you. But we are, I believe, working on a way to allow you to, if you're the super admin, to delete other users' views. So yeah, stay tuned on that one. Greg asked, is it best practice then to update their keeper email to match the Google one, I suppose? I think that is a good habit. Also, it depends on if you have assignable questions enabled. But if you don't have assignable questions enabled, you can just add both as a contact. And then you just essentially can use both, and then they can log into the portal with either email. Renata asked, are we planning on adding support for filtering by class on the balance sheets. It is something that we are planning on adding support for, so I will make sure to talk with our product team about that. Courtney asked, has there ever been chat about allowing staff to only see certain sections? For example, I only want them to see the account rec section, but no other sections. It is something that we have talked about internally, in particular in the context of like saved views on the close page. So I can't say that it's imminently on the product roadmap today, but it is definitely something that we've thought about, experimented with, and I hope to see it in Keeper at some point. Okay, Christine asked for a refresher on where to change the default login to username and password. That is in your practice settings under client portal and then branding. And then here you have sign in with magic link or sign in with email and password. So you can just click this option. All right. Every time I say all right, there's one more question pops in. Christine says, I don't see that option. Do you know why? I do not. So please write into our chat. All right. Well, great. Well, folks, thank you all so much for taking the time and for your great and thoughtful questions. I hope y'all enjoy the new features. I hope y'all have a good rest of your April, and I look forward to seeing you all again here in 1 month's time. So have a good rest of your day.